Hey everyone, it's Rob from robthetrainer.com here. Today we're going to be going over the Romanian deadlift in this video. The Romanian deadlift, or RDL for short, is an exercise that primarily targets the posterior half of your body, posterior chain of your body, things like your hamstrings, your glutes, but also the muscles around your spine and back here. Upper back, mid back, even your low back works to a certain extent here, although I want to be really clear, the goal is not to move through your lower back. Like you'll see sometimes where people will do something like this and feel like your lower back is doing a lot of the work. In fact, it's almost the opposite. We want to make sure that we're using that lower back just for creating stability for the spine here and keeping it in a nice neutral position where the hamstrings and the glutes can do most of the primary movement. So back to the exercise here. There's a couple cues I like to give to all of my clients when we perform this exercise. The first one that I like to give is to stand up tall, squeeze your glutes, and bend the bar over your waist or over your legs. What this does, by squeezing your glutes at the top position there, it sends a signal to the rest of our body as to where we want this repetition to start and end here, ensuring that we get a nice contraction at the top, we get the full extension of those hips, and we're really taking advantage of all of the range of motion and all the benefits that we can get from this exercise. By bending the bar over our legs here, we ensure that our lats are working, which will help, again, create more tension through the upper back, will help keep the spine nice and safe, and also make sure that the bar doesn't start getting way out away from you and pushing forward. So those are the starting cues here. Once we begin the exercise, the cue that I tell people, the very first thing to do is to start to push your hips back and hinge through those hips, as opposed to moving through your lower back of your spine here. So one of the things that sometimes helps people visualize this is pretend like you had you're like a rotisserie right through those hips here. And as you go through this, that's the position where you're moving. So this lower back is nice and flat. We're not rounding down here at all, but we're actually kind of pushing the hips back as we go through this. Now, in order to get the hips to move back, one of the other things we have to do is give ourselves a nice soft knee bend. We shouldn't be bending those knees really drastically, so we're not squatting down, and it's not like a conventional deadlift where we have a little bit more knee bend. The idea is to just allow you to have enough of a knee bend so that you can stay balanced and keep most of that weight over the middle of your feet, as opposed to if you had locked your knees out, all that weight is probably going to come forward towards your toes, the bar is going to get away from you, and your lower back is going to start doing a lot more work than you want it to in order to pull that weight back, get you to stand up nice and tall. Lastly, once we get to that bottom position where we're feeling a lot of tension in those hamstrings, that's when we're going to start to come back up. Our chest should still be a little bit above our hips, so it's not completely 90 degrees here. But again, we're feeling a good amount of tension in those hamstrings, and that's when we're coming up. The way that we get back up is by pushing those feet into the ground, sort of like when you squat, although we have a much shorter range of motion. And more importantly, we're driving our hips forward. The cue that I give people a lot of times is think about humping the bar. So in execution, the exercise should look something like this here. I'm going to take the bar off the rack, and just a really quick point of reference here. I don't want you to round the back and lift it off. I actually want you to just use your legs here. So keep your back nice and flat, your knees should be bent, and then just stand up with it. Take a step or two back away from the rack here, or wherever you have that bar set up. And now we'll start those cues. So squeeze your glutes, bend the bar over those legs, which you can see sort of just set my lats. I'm going to hinge through the hips, pushing my butt back, my knees are nice and soft, and once I get to that bottom position where I'm getting some tension, I'm standing up by pushing the heels into the ground and squeezing my glutes, humping the bar. I'll give you one without me talking through it so you can see what it looks like again. And one more just for good measure. And that, folks, is the Romanian deadlift. I hope that helped clear up a lot of the misconceptions that we have about that exercise and will allow you to really perfect the technique and the form. Thanks for checking it out. If you have any questions, you can always go to my website, robthetrainer.com, or feel free to email me, rob@robthetrainer.com. Thanks for watching.